Something big may have happened behind the scenes for Tom Holland and Zendaya, and fans are still trying to piece together exactly what went on. The couple has spent years protecting their relationship from the constant spotlight. But now, after another massive summer for both stars, reports are claiming that Tom Holland and Zendaya recently celebrated their love in the United Kingdom surrounded by close family and friends. And if the reports are accurate, this wasn't just another celebrity party. It was an intimate celebration that reportedly reflected exactly who Tom and Zendaya are when the cameras disappear. For years, fans have watched their relationship evolve from Spider-Man co-stars into one of Hollywood's most beloved couples. Their chemistry first captured attention on screen, but their connection eventually became something much bigger than a movie romance. And now, according to reports cited in the original segment, the pair may have taken another major step in their journey. The timing is especially interesting. Tom and Zendaya have been at the center of enormous attention following their latest professional successes. With their careers continuing to reach new heights, the couple has also faced an endless stream of questions about their private lives. Marriage rumors have followed them for years. But Tom and Zendaya have consistently tried to keep those personal moments away from the public eye. That is why reports of a private wedding celebration in the UK immediately caught fans' attention. According to People, the couple reportedly held a wedding celebration in the UK this week after privately marrying earlier in the year. While the exact circumstances surrounding the reported marriage have remained closely guarded, the celebration itself was said to have brought together some of the people closest to them. And the location reportedly made the occasion even more special. The celebration was said to take place at the luxurious Beaverbrook estate in Surrey, an enormous property surrounded by the kind of English countryside scenery that looks almost like something from a romantic movie. Think flowers, elegant buildings, peaceful gardens, beautiful countryside views, and an atmosphere designed for privacy. It sounds like the perfect setting for two people who have spent years trying to keep their most important moments away from the cameras. The estate itself reportedly covers hundreds of acres and has a long history associated with glamour and celebrity. Its rooms have reportedly been named after famous figures from history and entertainment, adding another layer of prestige to the location. But perhaps the most interesting detail is the reported theme of the celebration. Sources cited in the report described it as very natural, with an English countryside feel. Instead of an enormous Hollywood-style spectacle filled with flashing cameras and endless celebrity appearances, the reported celebration appeared to focus on something much more personal: family, friends, nature, and the couple themselves. That detail actually seems fitting for Tom and Zendaya. Despite being two of the most recognizable young stars in the world, they have repeatedly shown that they value privacy. They rarely share intimate details about their relationship. They don't constantly post about each other. And when they do appear together publicly, fans often analyze every glance, every smile, and every small interaction because those moments are relatively rare. That privacy has made their relationship even more fascinating to audiences. From the beginning, fans watched Tom and Zendaya grow closer while working together on Spider-Man. Their professional relationship developed into a friendship, and eventually, their real-life romance became public. But instead of turning their relationship into a constant media spectacle, they largely chose to keep it between themselves. That makes the reported celebration particularly interesting. If they really did gather their closest friends and family for such an important occasion, it appears they may have wanted the experience to belong to them first, not to Hollywood, not to social media, and not to the cameras. And there was reportedly plenty of family involvement. Tom's brothers were said to be among those attending, adding an especially personal touch to the occasion. Reports also claimed that Tom and his brothers wore black tuxedos for the celebration. Imagine the scene: a quiet English countryside estate, close family members arriving, friends gathering together, elegant black tuxedos, flowers surrounding the venue, and Tom Holland and Zendaya celebrating one of the biggest moments of their lives away from the chaos of Hollywood. It sounds almost completely different from the massive celebrity events fans might normally expect. And perhaps that is exactly the point. Tom and Zendaya have never seemed interested in making their relationship about showing off. Their relationship has developed in front of millions of people, but the most meaningful moments have apparently remained behind closed doors. Over the years, fans have seen small glimpses of their connection during interviews, premieres, award shows, and promotional events. Sometimes it's a joke between them. Sometimes it's a quick smile. Sometimes it's simply the way they look at each other. Those little moments have helped create the image of a couple that genuinely enjoys being around one another. And now, following another enormous period in both of their careers, their reported celebration has added another chapter to that story. The timing couldn't be more dramatic. Their professional lives are currently moving at an incredible speed. Tom continues to be closely associated with Spider-Man, a character that transformed his career and made him a global superstar. Zendaya, meanwhile, has built an equally impressive career beyond the superhero franchise, becoming one of the most respected young performers and fashion figures in Hollywood. Yet despite everything happening around them, their relationship has remained a constant source of fascination. This summer, their red carpet appearances once again gave fans plenty to talk about. Every appearance became another opportunity for audiences to see them together. And while they were busy promoting their work and celebrating major box office success, reports suggest that something much more personal may have been happening away from the cameras. That contrast is what makes this story so compelling. On one side, you have two global celebrities standing in front of thousands of cameras. On the other, you have a couple reportedly choosing a private English countryside celebration surrounded by the people they trust most. It is almost as if the biggest stars in the room wanted their most important moment to feel completely normal. And perhaps that's why fans have connected with them so strongly. Their story began with Spider-Man, but it has grown far beyond the Marvel universe. They've become a real-life Hollywood couple whose relationship has been followed by millions. Now, if the latest reports are accurate, another major chapter may have quietly begun. But there is still much we don't know. Who exactly attended? What happened during the celebration? What did Zendaya wear? Was there a traditional ceremony? Or was this simply a celebration following an earlier private marriage? And how did the couple manage to keep so many details away from the public? Those questions are exactly why fans are paying such close attention. Because with Tom Holland and Zendaya, the less they reveal, the more curious everyone becomes. And the story may get even more interesting when we look at the reported guest list and the incredible people who may have been there to celebrate with them. Because if the reports are accurate, this wasn't just a small gathering of family members. Some very recognizable Hollywood names may have been part of the celebration. And that is where the story gets even more surprising. If the reports surrounding Tom Holland and Zendaya's private celebration are accurate, then the guest list may have been just as fascinating as the celebration itself. Because while Tom and Zendaya have always tried to keep their personal lives private, the people reportedly closest to them include some of the biggest names in Hollywood. And that is exactly what makes this story so intriguing. According to reports cited in the original coverage, the celebration was not simply a one-evening gathering. It was described as a multi-day event, reportedly lasting around 3 days. 3 days. That immediately changes the picture. This wasn't necessarily just a quick party where guests arrived, celebrated for a few hours, and went home. Instead, the reported event appears to have been designed as an extended celebration, giving family and close friends more time to be together. And when you consider the location, the atmosphere almost sounds like something out of a romantic British movie. An enormous countryside estate, beautiful grounds, flowers, private spaces, close friends and family, and two of Hollywood's biggest young stars at the center of it all. But then comes the guest list. One of the names reportedly connected to the celebration is Zendaya's Dune co-star, Timothée Chalamet. The two actors worked together on the Dune films, becoming part of one of Hollywood's biggest modern science fiction franchises. Their professional connection has also placed them in the same circles for years, so his reported presence at such an important celebration would make sense. Then there is Kylie Jenner. Her name reportedly appeared alongside Timothée Chalamet's in coverage surrounding the guest list, adding another layer of celebrity interest to the event. And then comes a particularly special name for Tom Holland, Robert Downey Jr. For Tom, Robert Downey Jr. is not simply another Hollywood celebrity. He is one of the defining stars of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Robert Downey Jr. became synonymous with Tony Stark and Iron Man, while Tom Holland became synonymous with Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Their characters shared some of the most memorable moments in Marvel history. So, if Robert Downey Jr. really was among the people celebrating with Tom and Zendaya, it would represent a pretty remarkable connection between Tom's professional world and his personal life. Think about how far Tom Holland's journey has come. He was a young actor when he first stepped into the Spider-Man role. Suddenly, he was working alongside some of the biggest stars on the planet. He became part of an enormous cinematic universe. And over the years, those professional relationships turned into genuine friendships. Now, people who were part of that journey could potentially be celebrating one of the biggest personal moments of his life. That makes the reported guest list feel more meaningful. This wasn't necessarily about inviting every famous person in Hollywood. Instead, the names being reported appear connected to different chapters of Tom and Zendaya's lives. Family, close friends, co-stars, people who have worked with them, people who have shared important moments with them, and perhaps that tells us something about how the couple views their inner circle. Tom and Zendaya have never appeared particularly interested in having their private relationship become a public performance. They can step onto a red carpet and instantly become one of the most photographed couples in the world. But once the cameras disappear, they seem to return to a much quieter life. That is one reason the reported English countryside theme feels so appropriate. Rather than a massive Hollywood production, the celebration was reportedly built around a more natural and intimate atmosphere. Flowers and countryside surroundings reportedly played a major role. And that detail is worth remembering because celebrity weddings often become enormous spectacles. Massive venues, hundreds of guests, exclusive fashion moments, social media coverage, photographers waiting outside. But Tom and Zendaya have always had another option: privacy. And they appear to have chosen it. Even during their biggest career moments, they've generally avoided turning every personal detail into content. Their fans may know what movies they're making, what events they're attending, and what projects are coming next. But there is still a significant part of their lives that belongs only to them. That boundary may be one of the reasons their relationship has lasted under such intense public attention. Imagine being one of the most recognizable couples in entertainment while having millions of people analyzing every photograph. A simple ring can become a headline. A red carpet pose can become a viral moment. A comment in an interview can trigger weeks of speculation. Yet somehow, Tom and Zendaya have continued to keep many of the biggest details private. And that brings us back to the reported celebration. For fans, one of the biggest questions is not simply whether the celebration happened. It's how they managed to keep so much of it away from the public. Because when two global celebrities reportedly gather their friends and family at a luxury estate, you would expect photographs and videos to appear everywhere almost immediately. But the information surrounding this event remained limited. That suggests the people involved may have been extremely careful about protecting the couple's privacy. And honestly, that may have been exactly what Tom and Zendaya wanted. After years of living under intense media attention, perhaps they wanted one moment where they didn't have to worry about cameras. One moment where Tom could simply be with his family. One moment where Zendaya could simply be with the people she trusts. One moment where they could celebrate without having to explain anything to the world. And that may be the most romantic part of the entire story. Their relationship began under unusual circumstances. They met through Spider-Man. They worked together. They became friends. Their friendship eventually developed into something deeper. And then their relationship became one of Hollywood's most closely followed romances. Fans watched them grow from young actors into major stars. They've experienced career breakthroughs, blockbuster releases, international premieres, fashion moments, and countless interviews together. Through all of it, they have continued moving forward. And now, their reported celebration could represent another major milestone in that journey. Of course, because this story involves private events, it's important to separate what has been publicly reported from what remains unknown. The exact details of the celebration have not all been made public. There are still unanswered questions about the timeline, the ceremony itself, the full guest list, and what exactly happened during those reported 3 days. And that uncertainty is creating even more curiosity. Because fans don't just want to know what happened. They want to know how it happened. Was there a private ceremony? Was it simply a celebration following an earlier marriage? How many people were actually there? What did the venue look like? And perhaps the biggest question of all, how did Tom and Zendaya manage to keep such a major moment so private? Those answers may eventually emerge. But for now, the limited information is giving fans a rare glimpse into the kind of celebration that Tom and Zendaya might choose for themselves. Not necessarily the loudest, not necessarily the biggest, but personal, elegant, and surrounded by people who matter most. And then there is the timing. Their reported celebration comes during an extraordinary period in their careers. Both stars continue to dominate headlines, while their professional projects keep attracting massive global attention. Yet amid all of that success, they may have chosen to focus on something much more personal. Their relationship, their families, their closest friendships, and their future. For a couple that has spent so much of its journey in front of cameras, choosing to celebrate away from them could be the ultimate statement. It says that not every important moment needs an audience. Sometimes the biggest moments are the ones you keep for yourself. And if the reports are accurate, Tom Holland and Zendaya may have done exactly that. But there is still another part of this story that deserves attention. Because beyond the guest list, the beautiful countryside setting, and the reported 3-day celebration, there is a much bigger question. What does this moment mean for Tom and Zendaya after nearly a decade of growing together? From teenagers stepping into the Spider-Man universe to two of the biggest stars in Hollywood, their journey has been anything but ordinary. And in part 3, we're going to look back at that journey and why this reported celebration could represent one of the most important chapters in their story yet. For nearly a decade, Tom Holland and Zendaya have been growing up together in front of the world. What started with Spider-Man became something much bigger. They weren't simply two actors cast in a blockbuster movie. Over time, they became close friends, trusted co-stars, and eventually one of Hollywood's most talked-about couples. And now, if the reports surrounding their private celebration are accurate, they may have reached another major milestone together. But perhaps the most interesting part of their story isn't the reported celebration itself. It's everything that came before it. Think back to when Tom Holland first became Spider-Man. He was incredibly young when he stepped into the role that would completely transform his career. Suddenly, he wasn't just another promising British actor. He was Peter Parker. He was carrying one of Marvel's most iconic characters into a new generation. And alongside him was Zendaya, who quickly became one of the most important people in that Spider-Man story. Their character's relationship was initially part of the movie. But behind the scenes, their friendship continued to develop. The two spent years working together, traveling around the world, promoting movies, attending premieres, filming enormous action sequences, and experiencing the strange reality of becoming international celebrities at such a young age. That kind of experience can create a unique bond. They weren't just watching each other's careers from a distance. They were living through the same transformation. One day, they were young actors working on a superhero movie. The next, they were being photographed everywhere they went. Their names were appearing together in headlines. Fans were analyzing their interviews. And eventually, the world learned that their relationship had moved beyond friendship. From that point forward, their private lives became an even bigger topic of public interest. But despite all the attention, Tom and Zendaya continued to protect their relationship. They didn't turn every romantic moment into a social media post. They didn't give the public unlimited access to their private lives. Instead, they appeared to establish a boundary between their professional world and their personal world. And that boundary may have become especially important as their careers grew. Zendaya became a major star outside of Spider-Man. She built an impressive filmography, became a major fashion icon, and continued taking on increasingly challenging roles. Tom Holland also expanded his career beyond Spider-Man, taking on different characters and projects while remaining one of the most recognizable faces associated with Marvel. But regardless of how much their careers changed, their connection remained one of the most interesting parts of their story. And that is why the reported celebration feels significant. It represents more than another celebrity event. It potentially represents the continuation of a relationship that began when both stars were still very young. Their journey has been watched by millions. Fans saw them at premieres. They watched their interviews. They saw their chemistry on screen. They noticed the small moments between them off-screen. And over time, the couple became something of a modern Hollywood love story. But unlike many celebrity relationships, theirs has largely resisted the pressure to constantly entertain the public. They have allowed people to see pieces of their relationship without giving away everything. And maybe that is why every new detail feels so important. A simple appearance together can generate enormous attention. A ring can trigger speculation. A comment can become a headline. And a private celebration can become international entertainment news. Yet the couple themselves have often remained relatively quiet. That silence has actually become part of their story. They don't need to explain everything. They don't need to respond to every rumor. And they don't need to prove their relationship to anyone. They can simply live it. If the reported UK celebration did happen as described, that philosophy seems to have continued. The English countryside setting reportedly offered exactly the kind of privacy and elegance that would allow the couple to celebrate with their closest people without turning the event into a public spectacle. And the reported presence of family makes the story even more meaningful. Tom's brothers were reportedly there. Friends were reportedly there. Some famous co-stars may have been there. But ultimately, this wasn't about celebrity names. It was about the people Tom and Zendaya wanted around them during an important moment. That's a very different way of looking at a celebrity wedding celebration. Instead of asking which famous people attended, perhaps the more important question is, who did Tom and Zendaya trust enough to invite? Because when you've spent years being watched by millions of people, privacy becomes valuable. The people who get access to your most personal moments matter. And if the reports are accurate, the couple appears to have surrounded themselves with people from different stages of their lives. Family members, longtime friends, professional friends, people who understand them outside of their public personas. That may be why the reported celebration was described as a glorious gathering involving family and friends. It wasn't necessarily designed for Hollywood. It was designed for them. And perhaps that is the biggest takeaway. Tom Holland and Zendaya have spent years playing characters who belong to audiences around the world. Peter Parker belongs to Spider-Man fans. Zendaya's various characters belong to movie audiences. Their red carpet appearances belong to entertainment headlines. But their relationship belongs to them. That's why keeping important moments private can be so powerful. It gives them a part of their lives that isn't controlled by cameras, headlines, or social media. And after years of public attention, that privacy may be more valuable than any extravagant celebration. Of course, fans will continue to have questions. They will want to know exactly what happened. They will want more photographs. They will want details about the venue. They will want to know who was there. They will want to know what Tom wore and what Zendaya wore. They will want to know whether there was a traditional ceremony and what the couple's future plans might look like. But maybe we don't need every detail. Maybe the mystery is part of what makes this story so special. Because for once, the world may have only been given a small window into a very personal moment. And that may have been intentional. Tom and Zendaya have spent years proving that they can handle fame without allowing fame to completely control their relationship. They can walk a red carpet together and smile for the cameras. They can promote a movie. They can joke around during interviews. And then they can return to their private lives. That balance is difficult for any celebrity couple. But they seem to have found a way to make it work. And now, as their careers continue to grow, their relationship appears to be entering another chapter. The timing is almost poetic. The same franchise that introduced millions of fans to Tom and Zendaya continues to be an important part of their professional lives. At the same time, their personal relationship has evolved far beyond the world of Spider-Man. They are no longer simply young actors discovering fame together. They are established stars who have experienced years of success, pressure, criticism, rumors, and constant public attention. And through all of that, They have continued choosing each other. That's what makes their story so compelling. Not the red carpets, not the headlines, not even the speculation. It's the journey. Two young performers met while making a superhero movie. They became friends. They grew closer. They built careers. They faced fame. And now, according to reports, they may have celebrated their relationship surrounded by the people closest to them. If that's true, then perhaps this isn't the beginning of their story. It's simply another chapter. A new chapter in a relationship that has already lasted through years of Hollywood pressure. And maybe the most beautiful thing about it is that the couple didn't need to make the moment public for it to matter. They didn't need millions of cameras. They didn't need a giant audience. They only needed the people they love. So, whether every detail of the reports eventually becomes public or remains private, one thing is clear: Tom Holland and Zendaya continue to be one of the most fascinating couples in entertainment. Their journey from Spider-Man co-stars to life partners has captivated audiences around the world. And if this reported celebration really was the moment they've been quietly building toward, then it sounds like they celebrated exactly the way they wanted, with family, friends, privacy, and plenty of love. For fans, there may be more questions than answers right now. But perhaps that's okay, because some love stories are meant to be watched, and others are meant to be lived. For Tom Holland and Zendaya, it seems they may have chosen a little bit of both.